still the best Android phone, even after 3 or 4 years or something like that when it was released. Not sure about the date, but again, you can get it pretty cheap compared to many others. And you can change the battery! And you can also buy bigger batteries as well, but, I actually bought one, but I got pretty much... Apparently, any case, that's another thing. But apparently I never got it. In regards to the pagan traditions, right? The pagan traditions. So we have like Easter, we have Christmas, and when people are using this argument, there we go, getting into it again. When people are using this argument that, this guy was born on the 25 and this guy was born, all these pagan traditions, and Yeshua was born on the 25 of December and all that. Well, it's a bullshit argument. And why? Because Yeshua wasn't born on the 25th December. So pretty much that just fails the argument overall. I don't care about all these pagan gods if they were born on the 25th December. What do I care? If Jesus wasn't, born on the 25th December, well, the argument of theirs just pretty much just totally crumbles. This tradition of Christmas is coming from Rome, and I have, down here, I have 8 sermons from Chrysostom, and I read them all, and there's a lot of things that I absolutely do not agree with, but I read it because it was against the Jews, and I was, researching the Nazarenes and so forth. Being the first Christians and what they believed and all that, and, looking at things and all that. And you can even, you can always learn you can learn something from your, enemies, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, this is John Chrysostom, and he talks about, he's attacking the real festivals of the Bible. You have to wonder why they would, and that's the thing, when you see that there are laws against the Sabbath and that they are preaching against the festivals of the Bible. Well, if they're doing that, that means that someone are keeping them. So you can learn a lot by, even if it's but he's attacking those so-called Judaizers and the Jewish traditions and so forward, which is actually biblical, which would have been those that Yeshua actually kept, or Jesus. But he's, so he's attacking those, and yet he goes on to promote Christmas, because in Rome, they know when Jesus was born in regards of they have these traditions. Yeah. It's, thinking to change times and laws, Anyway, so, so what are people doing in our days? Well, keeping to these pagan traditions, and even if they know these traditions are pagan, we're still continuing to keep them. That's not going to be with me, This is disgusting. This is utterly disgusting. If you know something is wrong, why would you partake in it, Is it, if one thing is to not know about these things because you're taught from your childhood about Easter and Christmas and Sunday and whatever and all that. You don't know any better, And then you figure out, I looked up in the lexicon or this and that and researched whatever, and I find out this is not true. This, it's pagan traditions. And then people will say, oh yeah, but I know that. I knew that, but it doesn't matter. Wait, stop right there. You tell me you knew it, but you didn't tell me. And you're just continuing with this lie, and you say you know it? It's like, it's just dishonest, No, I'm not going along with that, that's for sure, counting to 24 or 25 or whatever. Where do you find that in the Bible? Well, actually, in the Bible it says to count to 50. But it's not in the winter, it's in the spring. And counting to Shavuot, in regards of the festival of weeks. Oh, he's like, But you don't find the other thing, you don't find Satan Claus, flying around with these animals and, having these godlike powers, so he knows everything about good and evil children and blah, 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 blah. Easter rabbits, egg-laying eggs and, gnomes and whatever, these former, so-called gods of, just incredible. Tooth fairy. And so forward, I can't remember it all, But it's not, why are we teaching these things to our children? Are you kidding me? It's like, it's not found in the Bible. But anyway, then people are like, oh, you shouldn't be Judaizing. Judaizing? Jesus was a Jew. Oh, how awful it could be to Judaize, in regards of, doing as Jesus did. Oh yeah, Jesus was a Judaizer, wasn't he? No, not in regards of Judaism, because Judaism hated Yeshua because he was breaking all their laws. Well, not the law of the Torah, but the law of, tradition, all their traditions, It's just breaking one after another, and they hated him. And it seems like they had trouble with, this group, of Nazarenes. Because they believed that Yeshua was the Messiah, and they were leaving the traditions of the, Judaism. Anyway, so, so they ended up calling Yeshua, Yeshu, and Yeshu is an acronym for may his name be obliterated or blotted out. So anyway, they didn't really like Yeshua that much, and they think they don't reject that he was executed. They just think it was a righteous thing to do because he made himself equal to God. So that's blasphemy. Well, if he was God, of course, that would not be blasphemy. If he actually was telling the truth, that he was God, but anyway, then we have the Mohammedans coming 600 years after, nearly, after the event, and then, no, Yeshua was never executed. What are you talking about? You're a liar. Just a plain stinking wolf, and, just down the bin with you, Muhammad, or Muhammad. How can you 1.8 billion, Mohammedans follow this guy, it's clearly stinking wolf. He's not even a wolf in sheep clothing. It's just a plain stinking wolf. Should be able for any Christian to spot him very easily. And how can that go hand in hand with Christianity, who proclaims Jesus to be the Son of God and God in flesh? And then you have the Mohammedans rejecting that he is God's son and thereby also God in flesh. And they reject he was executed. And they thereby also reject that he was resurrected from Sheol or Hades or the realm of death or the place of the dead. This is just outrageous. There's like 3 pillars, biblical pillars, that you just, boo! We don't believe that. Oh, really? Okay. So it pretty much just goes against the Bible. Well, I don't think that Muhammad guy, actually, I know that Muhammad guy was not sent by Jehovah. He was sent by Satan. It's like clearly, not from God, it's just, anyway. So both the Christians rejected Muhammad as a false prophet and the Jews as well. And that have continued to the days of, of course, until the ecumenical movement, it seems, in our days. Ecumenical bullshit, Anyway, so that's pretty much it. So, do I have anything else? But I just don't understand, seeing you Roman Catholics, and you are, finding out and can see that there's a lot of weird things going on and all that. And, why might you actually see these things going on? Because it's the Antichrist. The papacy is the office of the Antichrist. It has always been the office of the Antichrist, and it will not change. It will always be, the office of the Antichrist. This is the great toilet throne of the devil that has been given to the Antichrist. The power, his power, dominion, and rule, and so forward, has been given over to this office. This is the devil's. You can read about that in the book of Revelation, and to get it straight from the book, But I would, in regards of, I would advise people to read the book of Daniel beforehand. It's a book that you can re-listen to and re-listen to and re-listen to and study and all that, and you will get more and more things in place. Getting into, and then when you read the book of Revelation, there will be things that you will be more accustomed to. And it will help you to be able to decipher a lot of the things, but there's still a lot of things that I do not know, and but one is growing and growing and so forward. Oh well, anyway, so first the book of Daniel I would, and then go to the book of Revelation in regards to the last part of the New Testament, and go take a look at that. If you haven't, in regards of Yeshua, if you have problems in regards of who Yeshua actually is, I would advise the first 4 books of the Gospel in the New Testament. And when you read those 4 books, you already know more than many of the people in regards to who Yeshua actually is, because it's 4 books about the same gospel of Jesus Christ dying for the sins of the world. So I would be careful of Paul, but that's, pretty much skipped all Paul's letters the first time that I read it. I got to the Acts, I found, it's just so wonderful. Everything is just wonderful and all that. Then you get into book of Acts, and then you get into Paulus. And it's like half of the book of Acts is about Paulus. And when I got to the letters of Paulus, I skipped those and went along with the rest, and read the Paulus letters last. I think there's some issues with Paulus. I'm pretty certain actually there is, but that's another story, and that's a longer topic overall. But Yeshua had warned us about an enemy sowing the bad seeds, and warned us about wolves in sheep clothing. You see, Yeshua didn't warn us about wolves, like plain stinking wolves like Muhammad, because they're pretty easy to spot. They stink miles away. But he was concerned about us being deceived by wolves in sheep clothing. So, that if possible could deceive even the elect, okay? So, and they're going to grow up, together until the harvest. So you have the good eatable wheat and you have the poisonous darnel, and these are going to grow up together until the harvest. And if you actually look at wheat and darnel, they look much alike, and I think they actually grow together. And then if you were in the business of harvesting these things and all that, you would I guess understand more in regards to them growing together and so forward. And you burn those bad seeds because they're not eatable, and then the tares, also translated as tares, and and then you take the wheat into the barn, the good eatable wheat. And Yeshua is using this parable in regards of explaining, the field as the world, and saying that an enemy after him will come and sow the bad seeds, the poisonous seeds. And as far as I can see, those are the lawless seeds. So you have the law abiding, it's in regards to the good eatable wheat, and then you have the lawless darnel, which is, the poisonous seeds. And they grow up together, and they have grown up together. Isn't it interesting that the words of Yeshua would actually be fulfilled? Well, not really a surprise when he's God in the flesh. You see, you Catholics believe when you talk, when I talk to Catholics, they will, talk, yeah, Jesus, Yeshua, and so forward. But you're just forgetting, a big, a very important thing, right? You're not telling anyone that you believe that Jesus is a cookie, right? You just, oh yeah, Jesus, and, yeah, and this and that. You can sit and talk to a Roman Catholic without actually noticing he's a Catholic. At least, I've been fooled. Or maybe I actually had a sense that this guy was a Catholic, but he was talking like a Christian. Yet, that's not what he believes. He's only giving some of the things. He's not actually saying that he believes in a continual, perpetual sacrifice in the Roman Catholic whorehouses. He's not telling me that he's actually praying to Mary and all these different prayers that you have and all that. And, it's just, you can deny it. And you're really good at denying, you people are, and then you find out, well, but if you deny it, and I can find sources on this and find out what is actually true and all that, and I hear you, you people denying it, so it's disgusting. It's utterly disgusting. You can find proof of different things, and I was on this Christian forum, and I read, I wrote in regards to the Antichrist and all that, and it got deleted, but 3 Roman Catholics came out of the bushes. I didn't even need to do anything besides, making this little thing. And they came out of the bushes. And one of them put up, prayer. I can't remember. It was I think it was 2 actually. But picture and prayer to Mary. And one of the other Catholics was just like rebuking him. Don't you can't tell the Protestants about this because they don't understand, because it's like telling the Protestants in regards of the what was it called, indulgences. It's just some of the last, it's just spilling the beans just out there in the open. I was like, hey, thumbs up, And someone on the forum just deleted it all. We had a third Catholic as well writing on it. I didn't really do much. Just put out the truth, and there they came out of the bushes. And it was gold. It was literally gold, because on this forum, this Facebook forum, it was just, I was just, you could just see that in regards of all this ecumenical bullshit that doesn't really, add up. It was pure gold, I think, to show, because I wasn't really, saying much. Actually, they were just doing all the work for me in regards of showing what they actually believed. I just had to put, press some buttons, and they just gave me everything. Sadly, I would have wanted to make a video on that. Sadly, I was thinking to make a video, but then I thought, I'll just put it aside, and if it gets deleted, I will make a video. Sadly, apparently, you could sometimes put things aside, but if it begins to recover, then it will regather the information from the place, and thereby it will be corrupted. And sadly, after it got deleted, I found out the page that I had put to the side was actually refreshing. So I should just have made the video at that point where I was thinking about it. Now, of course, all my YouTube channel was actually deleted by YouTube, so it doesn't really, I guess. But anyway, why can't you just tell the truth, And sometimes you can actually, people have a way of, running around with a crucifix, that's, a lot of Catholics are running around with not all of them it seems, but at least some of them are running around with a crucifix. So I'm, apparently we have a cross, and a crucifix is when the man is apparently hanging. I would just burn all the crucifixes personally, but anyway, I remember a story about a guy that he collected all the crucifixes and he burned them. Now, I think that was a correct thing to do, but sadly the Roman Catholics thought that was very evil, so they took the guy and burned him on the stake. So Yeah, it's just incredible. You know, I guess Christians and Protestants are like more in the business of burning and destroying idols and images, and the Roman Catholics are just in the business of burning and killing off, murdering Christians. You know, that's the difference, I think. So, you know, I guess either you hate Christians or you hate idols. Oh well, at least anyway. Yeah, I think the guy did the right thing. You know, he collected all the crucifixes and burned them. You know, and sadly, again, the Roman Catholics just burned him instead. You know, it's just disgusting. Yeah, he does them actually a favor of burning these idols, and yet they, you know, and they love them so much. They have so much love for these idols and images and all that. It's just in disgusting. It's just, you know, what does the book of Revelation say? Yeah? In regards of idols? Anyway. Yeah. And murder and so forward. Well, I guess. It's... So... You know, why are you Catholics continuing to follow this guy? This office? You know, all those Protestants was former Catholics in the past. And that's one of the reasons why, if you actually go back, that these reformers knows a huge amount on Roman Catholicism. Why? Well, because they were former Roman Catholics. So they knew what the system stood for, because they were living it themselves. And thereby Protestants can still learn a lot by going back and reading Protestant sources. Now they had their issue, okay, yeah, sure, you know, but they were, you know, trying to get some rope from Satan. They were turning the boat around and hewing rope from Satan. And they were not perfect, but they were, you know, they had their faults. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, open up for the man to be able to read the Bible. You know, when people says, you know, and I know also in regards of Protestants, actually in regards of Andreas Karlstadt had it, you know, Martin Luther and Andreas Karlstadt had some issues, and Andreas called them the new papists and all that, because Luther was still hanging on to the cookie Jesus, even if he rejected the continual sacrifice in the whorehouses and all that. Luther still had issues. But anyway, what was my point? Oh yeah, but then people will say, oh, you know, Martin Luther is just your so-called pope. You know, I'm like, what are you talking about? There was a lot of reformers. Luther was just one of them, you know? He had his part, and so did a huge amount of others in regards of going back to the Bible. You can't just put out and take out Luther and say, oh, this, you know, there's a huge amount of Protestants beginning to study the Bible, you know, Zwingli, you know, Andreas Karlstadt, you know, I haven't read much about Calvin, but Calvin as well, you know. And we have all these people waking up and beginning to read and study the Bible. Now, one thing that Martin Luther had of variance in regards of the papacy was that Roman Catholicism didn't want people to read the Bible for themselves. The exact opposite was in regards of Martin Luther. Martin Luther wanted the people to read the Bible. Actually, he said, if people would just read the Bible, you know, I'd rather have all my things destroyed that I've written from all my years, and just have people read the Bible, because it's the Bible that will, you know. And this is one of his last introductions in his later life. Luther wanted the people to read the Bible for themselves. He understood that this is where I would just be, you know, be careful of Paul, but overall, this is where we defeat Satan. Why? Well, because Satan have a hard time deceiving us when we know the Bible. Because we will know, no, that's not biblical. You know, Sunday is not biblical, this tradition is not biblical, this and that is not biblical. No, you know. Oh, you want to anathematize me? Like, how many times? I really wonder how many times, but I guess one is enough to be burned at the stake, be considered a heretic and all that. But I do wonder how many curses. It could be interesting, actually, just looking in regards of all the anathema and that's curses that the Roman Catholics would actually, have put on me. It would be interesting to actually read it. Actually make a website and say this. The Roman Catholics condemns you to a heretic on this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that and yeah. I think I could make a huge list actually. Just taking the Council of Trent document. Yeah, I should be able to find a good amount of accursed that I am accursed. I'm a heretic. And it's not a sin to kill a heretic, is it? If you do it for the church, you can always go to a priest and give forgiveness, right? Like the mafia, going out killing people, going to, as long as you're doing it for the church, right? All roads leads back to Rome. Just, that's what the Bible says, and that's what we find. Anything else? I don't know. Reading history and all that. Yeah, of course. And then you can say in regards to Roman Catholic tradition, oh, but it goes back, long back in history. So what? What does Yeshua say? That someone after him would sow the bad seeds. Well, we already know that these seeds were sown in the first century. So if they are already sown in the first century, wouldn't they go back to like the first century? Huh? Doesn't matter how old these traditions is. The question is it the truth? Because we know an enemy would come and sow the bad, poisonous seeds very early, after Yeshua had been here. Question is, who is it? Who made the first Inquisition? Who made the first Inquisition against the Christians? The Nazarenes? Well, called the Nazarenes at that point. Who made the first Inquisition? Well, he's found in the New Testament. Who went to Rome? Well, he's found in the New Testament. Who was rejected by all Asia according to himself? Well, it's found in one of his last letters that he wrote. So why would all Asia reject this guy? Well, maybe because he was the enemy professed by Yeshua HaMashiach, or Jesus Christ. But actually that the New Testament is actually a book with the truth of Jesus Christ and his enemy. So anyway, and they are growing up together as they have for nearly 2,000 years. Interesting, right? Because the Bible is true and the words of Jesus is fulfilled, or being filled up, because of course we still have the harvest in the future which is yet to come, where the darnel is being collected and cast into the fire, and then the good eatable seed will be taken into his barn. That's still future. Still future. Anyway, we also have in the book of Revelation in regards to the 7 letters, those are actually written to Asia Minor. That's the place that left Paul. We later on have Marcion collecting all the letters of Paul. He only used Paul. He was a Pauline, whatever you want, a Paulist. And Tertullian wrote against him, and Melito wrote against him. Sadly, I don't think we have anything from Melito against. But Melito was, as far as I can see, Melito was not really that. He was too truthfully. So his documents seems to be, a lot of his documents seems to be lost. We still have some of Tertullian's. I'm not sure how much, but anyway. In any case, it's really sad because Melito, he was in the right area. He has the right connections and all that. And he was he believed in a 1,000-year reign, as far as I understand it, like many others. And you see it already being condemned very early on as a Jewish fable or Jewish doctrine or Jewish this and that. Like, oh yeah, just because it's, if we put in the Jewish thing, it's bad. Okay, yeah. Anyway, it's actually called different things. But in regards to this 1,000-year millennium, I think we both had the Latin name for it and the Greek name for it, and so. But anyways, in regards to the 1,000-year realm ruled by Christ on earth in the future, when Yeshua is coming back to rule the world from Jerusalem, But apparently, you are getting a curse by the Roman Catholic Church if you believe that as well. It's incredible. So that's one more to the hat, right? And one more feather to the hat. In regards of being accursed, Actually, if I could actually calculate how many times I'm accursed by the Roman Catholic Church, and it might actually be, that, I don't know, it's probably, I don't know if it actually is possible to collect all that information because, and to find out, but, one could write a t-shirt and it said, I'm so and so many times accursed by the Roman Catholic Church. Condemned heretic by the Roman Antichrist. Anyway, so Melito believed in this doctrine as well. And there's another guy that I wish we had his documents. He wrote 5 books. And, he was listening to people coming around, who had witnesses in regards of Yeshua, so that this would have been information that would have, been wonderful to have. We also have a guy that went around and actually interviewed the people. We lost that information as well, And I think we can thank Rome, because there might be some informations in these documents that wasn't really, preferable to Rome, So we have, Satan, when you can see the censoring going on in our days of world, I have been, when I write on other places, I have had so much deleted. I can see how Satan works, how he removes information and this and that. And I don't think that would have changed in regards of when you go back to history. I think the same thing would have been occurring in the past. So I see like a pattern, that, Satan would have tried to get rid of information that actually, doesn't really approve of the Roman Catholic Church and so forward. But that is not to say that information are not slipping through, And we have a lot of material and, So to get pieces together and all that. Anyway, but I wish we had more of Melito's information. He was from the area of Asia Minor. I think he was said to be the second, what shall we say, bishop or whatever. I'm not sure if that's the right word to use, but he was the second in line, I think, and he was in the right place in regards of Asia Minor, who rejected Paulus. He was in regards of the time and all that, and he wrote some wonderful things. It's, we have second-hand sources, and I have seen some of what I think I've read all that Melito has that we actually have access to, and some of his things that he wrote is just magnificent, I think. And I think it could have, some of his document could probably have been a threat against. Actually, he wrote in regards to the book of Revelation as well. Oh, that would have been interesting. It would have been very interesting because this guy knew a lot. It seems from what I've read, he understood. He's understood a lot of things and so forward. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have, from his perspective, from his time, actually, how he would have seen the book of Revelation. It also gives some confirmation to the book of Revelation because Melito was, So Anyway, so that's one source that could verify that the book of Revelation is actually valid. If anyone have a problem, of course, just looking at it in regards to prophecy, I think it's pretty much validated overall. Yeah, so that's great. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess just get out of it. Find out what is true. The Sunday thing where Rome is using the Sunday to show that they have the authority to change the laws of God. Well, the little horn thinks to change times and laws. And by the way, if the little horn thinks to change times and laws, and the little horn is in effect today, the little horn also persecuting the saints, and the saints are those keeping the commandments of Jehovah and the testimony of Jesus Christ, according to the book of Revelation. So that we have, anyway. So if he thinks to change the times, think to change times and laws, and we have the saints actually keeping, guarding, and protecting the laws of Jehovah, well, how can when people are saying the law is abolished, for example, well, how can the law be abolished if the Antichrist think to change times and laws? Well, the law seems to then be still in effect, doesn't it? And when you see that the saints are keeping, guarding, protecting the laws of Jehovah and the testimony of Yeshua, well, and it has to be Christians because, those are the ones believing in Yeshua, right? Or Jesus. Anyway, I guess I'll end up stopping now. But yeah, it's just incredible. And one of these Roman Catholics will say, oh, pray the rosary, just give me a break. What are you doing, you people? Oh, you people, I don't, pray the rosary. Oh yeah, let's just pray these vanities, stupidities. Give me a break. Was that what Jesus said? No, that was not what Jesus says. So the person links to this rosary. Oh, this is disgusting. Utterly we have an image, and no, I don't even want to look at that. This is just disgusting. I don't know. How can't you see how this system is? But anyway, here we have a lot of people saying this and that in regards of the Antichrist and all that, and it's like, how when you can see the system doing all these abhorring things, why is it, in any case, the best that I can do is say to you, get out of her, That was what Yeshua said. Get out of her, my people. And in regards to the United Nations, we have the European Union, we have the NATO thing and all that. And all seems to go back to Rome. Well, maybe because Rome is in control in regards to the Antichrist. All roads leads back to Rome, at least until it is destroyed. Or maybe it will be a little before it's destroyed. We'll have to see. At some point, Rome will be destroyed. And then we are getting very close to the time of Yeshua returning, and I will have to see, but at least we will be in the, then this will be fulfilled, and then we have the Antichrist ruling. The question, of course, is how long will he rule on this earth before Yeshua is actually coming back to set up his kingdom on this earth, and and cast this Antichrist into the lake of fire. But it might go very quickly, but we'll have to see in the future. We can see the world is going in the direction of this poop doom, as I call it. And just one day after another, we are just getting closer and closer and closer. And no one seems to be aware of it. And those that are aware of it have no idea of the Antichrist. actually, it's interesting that they, it's in regards to the New Age movement and all that. Actually, it's interesting to see that even if you think in regards to the truth movement and all that, you are actually promoting satanic doctrines, and yet you think you're actually against those, but you actually, yeah, it's just incredible. It's a very deceptive system. It's very deceptive overall. Anyway, I'll stop now and have a good day. I don't know how much it actually is working on YouTube in regards of keeping, but just try reading the Bible and just trash all your, and you will, people, Roman Catholics will say, oh, Jesus is talking about the cookie. Well, do you see, when Jesus is talking about his living bread, does it say anything that he's standing with a cookie in his hand? No. He's talking about his body. His body is going to be broken. It's symbolic. It's symbolic how it's like, oh, but Jesus talking, in regards to John and all that, he's talking about the cookie and all that. No. He's talking about his body that came down from the heavens. Did the cookie come down from the heaven? Do you see the priest and looking up and then the Eucharist is coming down from the heavens? No, you don't. So who came down from the heavens? Well, Jesus came down from the heavens. The Word that was made flesh. It's not the cookie. It's Yeshua. When you break the bread, you're doing it to remember what he did. Once and for all. Not a perpetual, continual sacrifice. Once and for all. There's only one way to the Father. Not the Father in so-called Rome. The so-called Father in the unholy figure in Rome, which Roman Catholics are following. There's one Father we're to call Father. And he's up there. Up in heaven. Or in the heavens. It's plural in Hebrew. Shamayim. Anyway. So this talks about that someplace. It's like, you will say to me, like, oh, he's talking about the Eucharist. Where do you see he's talking about the Eucharist? Where do you see he's standing with a cookie? There's nothing in the text that says that he is standing with a cookie, Oh, here we go. It's John, 8? No. Nope, that's not the way. Nope. Here we go. It's John 6. This is the Danish, so that's but he says, I'm the bread of life. Your fathers ate manna in the desert and they died. But this bread, which cometh down from the heavens, to that anyone who eats shall not die. But as Yeshua said, whosoever believes in me shall live even if he dies. That's Yeshua. He's the living bread. Anyway, he says, I am the living bread that is come down from the heavens. He wasn't talking about a cookie. He was talking about himself. Oh, you Catholics, come on come on, wake up. You have to be. And you would just twist, that's the thing. It's the same thing with the Jews and the Mohammedans. You listen to these blind guides, and then you go out and regurgitate it, what's it called, is that the right word? You listen to these blind guides and then you just go out and, so you hear the same things from many of these this, many of these people, going for this or that, oh, this so-called rabbi said this and that and so forth. Oh, this so-called father said this and that. Well, what did Jesus say? Don't call anyone father on earth, and don't call anyone rabbi, because you have one Father who is in heaven, and you have one rabbi, and that's Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeah. Come on! Just take the words of Jesus and scrap the rest. It's just incredible, How blind can you people be? Wake up! How much how much does the tree needs to be shaken to begin to, and whoa, open your eyes. Anyway, so, let's see here. Whosoever eats of this bread shall live to, everlasting time. And that bread I will give is my flesh, that is given to the life for the world. Well, what did Jesus give? Where did Jesus go? To the tree, where his living bread was broken and his wine poured out for the sins of the world. When the Passover lamb was slain once and for all for the sins of the world. Okay? Anyway, and the Jews discusses this and that, and how can we eat it? He was talking symbolic like so many other places. So, anyway. But you will say, oh, he's talking about the cookie. Really? Really? Where do you see that he's standing with a cookie? No place. No place. You see, you Roman Catholics, you have hundreds of years to twist what Yeshua is saying, and that's what this institution has been very good at. The Jews, in regards to Judaism, the Roman Catholics, And actually, again, what did Jesus warn us about? Well, wolves in sheep clothing. Didn't warn us about the Jews because the Jews are outright rejecting Yeshua. So is that should that be a difficult task to find out and spot, smell that there's an issue? And by the way, I was at this place I was invited when I was in Jerusalem to this, and I actually, I'm talking to Jews, and I love talking to Jews and all that, just being with Jews is just wonderful. And Jews are, it's just, I think it's pretty, but anyway. So I went, but they reject Yeshua, and that's sad. But anyway, you can talk with them, in regards of scripture and all of that sometimes, and that's kind of, you can talk about the book of Daniel and the 70 weeks in regards of Yeshua, and, being Jews, they should have an easier way to actually calculate the 70 weeks. And if they actually calculate the 70 weeks and find out that the Messiah, according to the 70 weeks, should have come around 29.5 AD, well, they either have to, reject Daniel as a prophet, or maybe they, will say, well, sometimes people will say, well, for example, the Mohammedans, when the Quran talks about that the Israelites has been given the land of, the chosen land by God. And then you will hear one of these Mohammedans say, for example, that I've heard, no, but that was before they began to this and that, so now it doesn't, what are you talking about? Twisting whatever and all that, even, it doesn't matter, even, let's see this. How they can say that this land is not the Jews when both the Bible profess it and the Quran, even that blasphemous book, even professes at least twice. At least twice it is in the Quran. And yeah, oh no, that's this and that, and twist, you get tired of these things. So anyway, Yeshua was not talking about a little flat piece of bread, okay? He's talking about, I'm not even sure, some people believe that it was unleavened bread in regards of the last meal. I'm not even sure that was actually unleavened bread. As I understand it, it's not in the text. It doesn't say it's an unleavened bread. It just says bread. And, he was executed the day after. And that would have been the day in regards of the preparation day. So that's actually, in some sense, the same day in regards of if it's night. Oh, anyway. I should probably, I need to read some, in regards of this, but in any case, I have, it's a long time since I did studies on it, and but I have it like here. Let's see if we can get the camera. Here I have some of the studies I made years ago, and it's still on the plate, but I was trying to figure out in regards of when Yeshua was actually, in the, you have the black representing night, and then the daytime, night, day, and this is like a full day, right? So I was trying to figure out, but that's another topic, of course, when Yeshua was actually executed. Because if you say that he was executed on a Friday and the grave was found empty in the morning, well, that's not 3 days and 3 nights. And of course, if you go to a priest, he will say, oh yeah, but the Jews actually, they have another sense of 3 days and 3 nights. That's not true. But anyway, let's just give them that, okay? Let's just give those 3 days and 3 nights to these guys, I don't think it's true. But anyway, let's just give them that. Let's go in the other direction, right? Okay, they will say Palm Sunday, right? Palm Sunday. Okay. So, according to the Bible, we have the 10 of Aviv, which is the first month in the spring, and then Jesus, or Yeshua, has to ride into Jerusalem, so that would be number 10. So Sunday would, according to this, be the day of the 10th of the first month. In 4 days, he will be inspected. And on the 4th day, on the 14th, well, that would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, actually 5 days in some sense. But you have on the 10th, numbers is not always easy I'm not, but if you calculate, you have number 10 as the Sunday, right? So that would be the first day of the week, by the way. So Sunday, Palm Sunday as they call it, he rides in, with all the palms and this and that, right? That would be the 10. Then you have the 11, that would be Sunday, that would be Monday. Okay, so that's the 11th. Then you have Tuesday, that would be 12, right? Then you have Wednesday, that would be 12, 13, right? No, 13, yeah. Yeah, 13, yeah. And then you have Thursday, that would be 14, right? But he's slain on the 14th, right? So we have a problem, Houston. We're missing, we need one more day to reach Friday. Of course, if we took it from Friday, we would get to Monday. So again, we are missing a day. Now, actually, the Jehovah's Witnesses did seem to acknowledge this, but they made another mistake in regards to this, and I can't remember. I took a screenshot of it years ago and all that, but they just made another mistake because apparently they saw that there only should be, and then I can't remember what mistake they made, but they made another mistake. Figuring out that something was wrong, and yet instead of actually doing it correctly, they just made a new mistake. So again, if you go one way, you have a problem. If you go the other way, you have a problem. So you have another problem is in regards of Yeshua would have then traveled a huge distance on the Sabbath. And I'm not so sure that Yeshua would have traveled a long distance on the Sabbath. So if it's Palm Sunday. But anyway, but that's of course it's totally another subject, and it's kind of some years ago since I actually did, and when you go from one topic to another and you stop actually, you tend to forget some of the things here and there. But if you do your own research, I used weeks and weeks and probably also months on this to try to figure out what was going on. And the best that I can do and I need to re-look into it. The more that you get of you're learning and so forward and growing, and it becomes easier as you get into it again. And but anyway, as far as I can see, he probably was executed on a Wednesday in the middle of the week, because Wednesday is the middle. It's the fourth day of the week. So, and the question is then, when was Yeshua actually resurrected? Because one of the reasons why they say that we're keeping Sundays because of the resurrection. And as far as I can see, he might have, that's as far as I can see, there's two options. He has to be in the grave for 72 hours. 3 nights and 3 days, right? That's what Yeshua said. He has to be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. That's what he says. And you don't get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday. You only get 36 to 38 hours. And let's say it's not a question of hours. Let's just say that, it's just a little about the day and a little about the night. Well, even if you give these people 3 days, even if you say, okay, we have a little day, and then you get a full day, of the 12 hours of light, and then you have, a full day in regards of 12 hours, and then even if you do that, and then even give them the last bit in regards of when the grave is found empty in regards of as a full day, well, you only have 2 hours, two night times. You can see it here, If you're taking Friday here, this is Friday, number 6. If he dies there and put in the grave, you have 36 to 38 hours. Let's say you have, that a little day is a full day in regards of the light area. Okay, that's one. Then you have dark. That's one dark period, right? Then you have a full daylight, 12 hours daylight period, or around 12 hours. I'm not sure in regards, but in Israel it is less of a, it's not wavering as much as it is in Denmark in regards of, but one could look up in regards to that. But anyway, then you have the nighttime again, right? That's 2 night times. And then if you want to just get the last day, let's be nice to these people. So you have, let's say you have 3 day period. Well, what is the problem? How many nights periods do you have? 2. What did Jesus say? 3 days, 3 nights. Well, but of course they will say, oh, but the Jews are understanding it differently. Well, I've actually talked to the Jews about that, and as far as I can see, nope. 3 days or 3 days, 3 days and 3 nights, or pretty much 3 days and 3 nights. Funny, that is also how I understood it when I read it. But if you have one of these, educated, theologians, whatever, and all that, I remember reading on this place that, if you're actually getting educated in theologian thing, it doesn't really reach the level that you want, in regards of being a theologian. You can always become a priest. This is like a second-hand thing, You can always become a priest if you don't reach what you want. Oh, okay. So, not becoming a priest because you believe in God and want to teach the word of God, but, if it fails what you actually want to do, you can always just become a priest, right? And of course, you can be a Freemason as well, a Satanist Freemason on the side, right? Apparently. No idea, these guys, 82% in Denmark believes in pagan satanic evolution. nothing to do with the Bible, and yet you know what I haven't, and you know, if I talk more with these people, I would probably have a lot more stories about how, you know, because these people are outrageous. It's outrageous to listen to these people. Oh yeah, but you can't take the Bible seriously. You know, you need to mix. It's like, you take a little here and then take a little there and just mix it together. What? Oh, the flood was just a local flood. What? Oh. Hey, you got how many years of education? Did you were you totally brainwashed in regards to when you took that education? I think you need to get your money back, you know? That's just incredible. You know what are these guys learning on these places, you know? Apparently not much biblical truth, it seems. But a lot of excuses of this and that, you know, just get tired of it. There's only one thing to do, and that's to read the Bible for yourself and do your own studies. And yeah, and maybe you just tell the priest that, actually the Sabbath is actually on Saturday instead of Sunday, and you might be thrown out of your church. Who knows? Anyway, it's just it's just disgusting. I have this document. This is like from a Danish book. I just took one page out of the book. The rest I pretty much threw out. This is a Danish from 1636. Oh yeah. This is in Danish, so I'll try to... let's see here. Down through the times in Asia, Europe, and Africa, and around in the world, there were Christians that that was persecuted, and yet persecuted and suffering. They kept the 7-day Sabbath, and sometimes had to pay with their very life. In Tyrsten, Herod Rengsson, that's in Denmark someplace, lived around 1636. In the 100th year for Reformation coming to Denmark, how do you say that? Mr. or something like that. Mr. Andreas Kallersvend, he's a Danish, was what you would call fired from his position, of the reason that he on Saturday gathered the people and celebrated the Sabbath. Yeah, okay, we can't have a preacher standing for biblical truth. We have to fire him. Just outrageous. This is in Denmark. No, he wasn't killed, but he was fired. It's just incredible. This is disgusting. Why? Who would like to pay for this system? Huh? Let's pay for them continuing to lie to us. It's like paying for the Danish radio TV thing, just promoting lies and propaganda. Paying for your own brainwash. It's just incredible. Same thing with the school system and whatever, just television and all that bullshit. I don't have any television. I do have computer, but I don't have any television, I threw it out. I just got to a point where this is too much, the drums for whoa, 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 was just being beaten, and I just got too much of it. I took the television and just threw it out, Now these propaganda machines, we're going to war with Iraq, it's just incredible. So what did Iraq do, No, I guess we're trying to defend our nation. Anyway. I don't know, of course, in regards, I think we should support the Jews, but there was no reaction as far as I know of. And of course, the lie of, that Iraq has, mass weapons of destruction or something like that, which they didn't find any one of, One thing is to react if they actually attacked Israel, and to help Israel. That's one thing, But of course, as Christians, we're not to, go to war and all that. But, there are other ways to support Israel, right? To help them out and to support them. So, in any case, but no one was actually attacking Israel at that point, if I remember correctly. And the lie was that they had, mass weapons of destruction. And what happened in regards to this war? Lots of killings, a lot of people getting killed because of these wars. Could you have used that, resources to other things? Yeah. Like maybe fixing Bibles out to people. Think about how many chocolate gospels you could have made, I have this great idea. I think it's a great idea anyway. You could actually make these chocolate gospels. And you can make them like these things that goes down from the trees, So what you do, you would have someone to be able to design this or something like that and make a chocolate machine, and you would have you would need the right consistency in regards of the chocolate and all that. But and then you would need to, they should. The thing is, when you throw them out of the airplane, they should, be able to do this. So they go down like. It should be possible, I think, but I'm not sure, But just a bigger version of these, things that is designed from the trees, and what you do would put on the gospel of Jesus Christ. So you have the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they will taste the chocolate as well, and it was like, this is good, and yes, it is good. So, you would have the gospel and, give the people food. And who don't like chocolate, Some good quality chocolate, Having written the gospel on the thing, just throw it out, from the airplanes. Yeah. Yeah. Who wouldn't like that, Anyway, I guess I'll have to check up with some engineers or something like that, or whatever. I don't know, designers or something like that. It would take the thing from, and probably some mathematical things in regards to the chocolate. Of course, one could just try the best that, and you would need a form of some kind, and then see if it actually would work. I don't know, but it works in the smaller version, so should work in, I would think, and think about just looking up at the sky and just tons and tons of chocolate coming at you, flying in the air, with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Oh, I think that would be awesome. Just looking up and seeing all those flying around. Now, of course, it would be designed so if it hits somebody, that it actually doesn't hurt the person. But I would think that maybe that could, it shouldn't have any. It shouldn't have any, it should be soft if it hits something. It shouldn't be, if anything, the chocolates should maybe smash or something. I don't know but soft corners in any case. So people, are not getting hurt by getting these chocolate gospels, from the air. Anyway, I think it would be an awesome thing to try to do. I don't know if it's possible, but that would be interesting to see, I think it might be. I wonder if someone has actually tried to make something like that in a bigger size. Like when you see in nature. Anyway, I might actually, who knows. I don't know where to go in regards of this, but I guess, could be fun. To see if someone could, Anyway, the ideas, there's a lot of ideas. The problem is to get these ideas, Also in regards to, we can make computer games that actually teach biblical history and you can learn instruments as well. It's possible for us to do it, and without being violent in any way. Well, at least being, I guess there's probably other good ideas, but in regards to the fluting game, you could make a flute game, and you could have the melodies of the Reformation, because many of the melodies of the Reformation is actually, small melodies, like children melodies in some sense. Like, let's see, oh, my nose is blocking. Like, let's see, it's a little hard to get the note. It's very low. But anyway, and then it goes again, and my nose is blocked at the moment, so it doesn't make it easy to flute. And then it goes again in regards of... It's really hard with the last note there. I still need some practice in regard. But anyway... something like that. Anyway, might not be totally precise, but anyway, that's a small melody, and we can do that on the flute. I can't do it on the flute at the moment, but that's one possible. And make a game that is non-violent. You can make a learning game. You can teach. Where a person can learn. Playing flute. Or whatever, maybe another instrument, but flute is one of the things. I've seen it work, and in regards of actually the program actually knowing what note, and you play the note, and the program can register it. You have the technology to do it. So why are we continuing with all these violent games when we can actually make learning games? So here, by the way, here's the flute. But I can't remember that melody, and I don't have the notes in regards of... But I have another melody. This is another melody of these things that you could actually learn to the children. Let's try it. And then it goes like 3 times. Sometimes it's the different lyrics, but same melody. And the original of Martin Luther has 3. I think it's called stanzas or something like that. Not entirely sure, but anyway, I'm still new to this musical. But this is like a children. It's compared to what we see in regards of notes and this and that, and so complicated and this and that. This is like more like on my level. It's a small melody. It's something that is, and you could make a game on these things. It would be perfect for a teaching game in regards to teaching the flute or another instrument, and at the same time learning Protestant history and so forward. Anyway. And having a model in regards of Noah and a boat, and I have the ideas. I need to find someone that might actually and just fix it up and make a paper and get it all together. It will be actually a very small game in some sense. Of course, one could expand it, but overall, it shouldn't be that. You just have the program on the mobile, and you just play, and then it will record. Then when you hit the right notes, the program will verify it, and and then you move on to the next note and the next. Anyway, it shouldn't be a big. So you have the game part, making it fun. You have the Reformation and maybe some lyrics. I don't know if lyrics might. At least one could probably put it in there, but primarily the melody is the thing that is the important thing first, right? So anyway, instead of these worldly, songs, then teach some biblical, yeah, in any case. So that was some of the things, at least. It seems like the sun has gone down. Yeah. So I guess I don't have probably as much more to talk about in regards to Roman Catholicism, but you guys just wake up, read the Bible. That's pretty much I don't understand why people will continue, trying the best that one can do to help, but it seems like seems so many are so deep in it. And try looking for Christ Mass in the Bible. See if you can find it. Find it in the Torah, the five books of Moses in regards to the law of Jehovah. Find it there. What does God say in regards to the festivals? Well, he talks about the festival Passover and the 7 days of unleavened bread, and then after the Sabbath in that 7 days, after that is the first fruit, and from the first fruit you count 50 or 7 Sabbaths, and then after the 7 Sabbath you have Shavuot, which is the festival of weeks. But you are to count 50, and I'm still learning, and I'm still not doing this at all perfectly, and actually that's the festival of Sukkot at the moment, and I should actually have made a thing, to live in these 7 days. And then it's not 10 days. I wonder if I actually missed but that's the last great day. I'm still trying to learn and this and that, but I really should do more of a better job I've been in Israel in regards to the Passover years ago, and I've been to Israel in regards to the fall festivals as well. I've been there twice, and it's very interesting to see where these festivals are actually being kept. Now one might think that they are a little in regards of calculating, because they're not calculating in regards of the land as of yet, so they're still following this, but at least they're keeping these festivals, and they might not totally go in regards to the calendar of the Bible in regards to the land and all that, but there's still a lot of research being done on these things, and that's why some are keeping the festivals now, and the next month some of the Jews are keeping most Jews I think is keeping them next month. So that would be the next sliver of the new moon. They will also keep the new year, which is false according to the Bible, and of course they will defend that as well as anyone. It's like, I talked to Jews about this when I found out about this, and the Jews are like, they can't, they just walk away from you or something like that. The thing is, there are 4 so-called New Years according to Jewish tradition, but only one of them is biblical. And I actually have pictures from the big museum from Jerusalem, which actually also talks about this and verifies that only one of them is biblical. Now, of course, you could just read the Bible to verify that. It's always interesting, because some people don't believe you. So if you have like a big museum like in regards of Jerusalem actually saying the same thing, and it talks about the different 4 New Years, so it's nice to just be able to go someplace and they just tell you the facts instead of trying to get it out of from people, because people don't always want to tell you things and all that, and hide what they actually believe and so forward. Oh yeah, by the way, in regards to the so-called rabbi that I was invited to, I think I lost that. Maybe it was in regards to the last video. But I learned in regards to when Yeshua says, that, my sheep listen to my voice and knows my voice, but you're not of my, herd or something like that. Well, I got the understanding from, this so-called rabbi. I was invited to this Jewish thing, and afterwards he had some more so-called teaching things and all that, and it was utterly horrible. But one thing I did find out at the end, I had, I don't know how long that, it would have gone on, but at some point I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just, this is just bullshit. I'm leaving. I had totally, and he wouldn't take my hand anymore because I was asking questions, right? Wouldn't you ask questions? And hey, and but at some point he said, yeah, I've seen, I was sitting there with my hand in the air, and he didn't take me, and he just, yeah, I've seen your hand, and I'll get, you just this and that, I don't think he liked my questions, but anyway. There was in regards of Jewish mysticism and all that. But one thing I found out by listening to this guy was that where they got all these doctrines from. Sitting on the internet, you get into all these people, talking about, weird things and all that. And I found out where the source was. This is from these so-called rabbis. And what this Yeshua says, don't call anyone rabbi, then... we have one rabbi, that's the guy in the heavens at the moment. That's Yeshua. And we have one instructor in regards of, you could say, in some sense, the vicar of Christ. That's the Holy Spirit. You would think, the vicar of Christ, that must be the so-called Pope, right? Well, not really. Not biblical, at least. The one that he would send would be the Holy Spirit. So he is the one that is instructing us in the truth, not the Antichrist. Anyway, so but anyway, I had to, at some point, I just couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't recognize the voice. Okay, there was this guy was not and. Of course, if he didn't want to answer my questions, and so I like asking questions, and sometimes I'm just in the mood for asking a lot of questions to figure out what is actually, to figure out what. In any case, I found out where all these Jews are getting their, and the thing is, you see the same thing again and again and again. I was like, where are they getting this from, And of course, they're getting it from the so-called rabbis. Instead of reading the Bible, they're just, getting this from. Anyway, that was an awful experience. Yet it made me, recognize and understand the words of Jesus in regards to that. So that was nice. On that way, but I have a video from it where I'm just totally in the basement after that experience. I was just totally down in the basement. It was like, this is just totally horror. Anyway, my nose filling up. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. The whole system. How can people see there's a problem with this Roman Catholic system? All the so-called rabbis, I don't know, it's just... And then these Jewish, so-called clever, whatever, what you want to call them, put a curse on Daniel's 70 weeks. I was like, so you put a curse on Daniel's 70 weeks... if I was a Jew, but maybe I would have been raised differently. But, as a person, as a earthling, and someone says to me, you're not allowed to calculate the 70 weeks of Daniel, I would be like, why am I not allowed to calculate the 70 weeks of Daniel? Huh? What will I find if I calculate the 70 weeks of Daniel? Uh-oh. Should, honesty be told, shouldn't honesty be the, so why are they putting a curse on the 70 weeks of Daniel? Huh? Some of the Jews can get a kind of angry. I remember I was in what's it called, where you talk and all that, and I went into where they said, show us that Jesus is the Messiah and all that, and I just took all in regards to when to calculate from, and in regards to the 70 weeks and so forward, and I just fired away on you could speak in regards of it. And I was, talking about it in regards of that's, this and that, and I was more into it. I still have the information on the computer somewhere. And just spilled the beans about this prophecy in regards of Daniel and all that. And, it really stirred up some hatred, that's for sure. It was like, just look at the text, 70 weeks, and you just calculate it. You calculate it from the beginning, and there you go from this, and you find this. I can't remember all the details. I have it on the computer. But anyway, and you calculate 483 years, I think it is. And then you have 3.5 years because he's going to be cut off after 3.5 years. So you have 483 years. No, yeah, 83 years. Then you put 3.5, and then you from the beginning and all that. Anyway, and then you get to the 29.5 AD. Who came around 29.5 AD? Around that time. Well, do you see any Messiah coming around in around 29.5 AD being cut off? I only know one. I don't know if anyone knows anyone else, but I know there's only one that I can think about that actually was cut off in around 29.5 AD, and it might not be totally precise, but in regards of but around at that point. There might be some I don't know if we have totally in regards of our calendar system and all that, but around 29.5 is the date if you go by what we historical also in regards of these times and so forward, and the kings that rules this and that and so forward. But who is? I think 29.5 is a pretty good. It's pretty good. It's close, right? Very close to someone that actually, and we know from their own Jewish sources in regards to the Talmudic Babylon. My nose is blocked. Sorry. We have the Talmudic Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud. That's the thing. We have the Babylonian Talmud and we have the Jerusalem Talmud, and both of them witnesses that there was weird things going on 40 years before the temple was destroyed. Now the temple was destroyed in when? Well, 70 AD. So we have 40 years where they have recorded, both in the Babylonian Talmud and in the Jerusalem Talmud, that weird things was going on. That's two witnesses in the temple. And we also have Josephus talking about weird things. But anyway, so we have different sources that are very interesting. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what happened 40 years before these, when these things began? Well, 40 years before 70 AD. Oh, we get to a 30 AD. Oh, whoops. So what happened at 30 AD? Anyone knows what happened 30 AD? Well, usually it's, people pretty much think that Yeshua was executed 30 AD plus minus 3 years. It is in that line of people. So, in regards, I don't have an exact year, but it's around 30 AD, plus minus 3 years, it seems. Some believe it's 33. I don't think I've seen anyone going beyond 33 or someone going before 27. But anyway, so a pretty good agreement in regards of that time. So, we also have Jewish sources talking about weird things going on 40 years before it was destroyed. Well, you have to wonder, what changed in 30 AD? Well, maybe they killed God. So, maybe that's what happened. Oh well. Anyway, I think I'll stop now because my nose is blocked and it's getting kind of annoying. Just, be careful. Jesus, Yeshua, warned us about wolves in sheep clothing. It was not the Jews he was warning us about, because the Jews just outright reject him, They call him Yeshua, and then Yeshu, instead of Yeshua. And why, one of the reasons why I got into this again when I was in Israel was that I met a Jew that actually was named Yeshua. And I said to him, hey, that's the same name as Jesus. And another Jew that sat at the temple said, no, we don't call Jesus Yeshua. I guess he jumped in to defend that then the guy was named Yeshua because, they're not really, so fond of. And he said, we call him Yeshu. And, so he has his special name. And I said to him, Yeshu isn't that an acronym? And he was like, how do you know that? Something like that. And said, I remember something about that. Do you know what it is? And he said, no, he didn't know what it was. I'm not sure I'm not sure he was telling the truth. But of course, I just did the research again. And I remembered what it was. And then I got out asking. And one of the Jews that I asked about it was, I guess he was an Orthodox Jew and all that. Was going, I think, down to the wall. But I met him at the Jaffa Gate. So he was walking to the Jaffa Gate. I don't know but anyway, that was, let's say it's this direction, the Jaffa Gate, and I was moving this way. And I saw him coming, and I was turning around, and then I asked him, walking, and it was, if I may ask him some questions, and he said yes, and all that, and I'm asking him in regards to Yeshu, if it, meant may his name be obliterated or blotted out, and just looked down to the, it's like looking down at the stones, these I'm not sure what kind of stones these are, but it's like a little, I guess, yellowish, like they're kind of a lot of, anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you just look down at the stones, like, and he said, yeah, that's what it means. And then he just, the speed was just, and it was just closed from, I don't think I could get any, he speeded up, and, but it seemed like he was ashamed of it. I don't know, but he just looked down, I was like, yeah, that's what it means. I know, maybe that was something, but it just seems like he was ashamed, which would be a good thing, of course, if he actually was ashamed of it. But you have different reactions from Jews in regards of Yeshua, whatever the case, But, I love Jews. I love, it's just nice to be together with Jews, Because it's Jews, And who doesn't like a Jew, apparently a lot of people don't like Jews. And of course I don't like that they, in regards of Yeshua and all that. I don't like that, of course, but if they want to talk about it, hey, I'm all for it, and we can use the so-called Old Testament, the scriptures. We don't need to use the New Testament. Just go to the scriptures and ask them, So when, in regards of calculating the 70 weeks of Daniel or Isaiah 53, of course there's excuses of all, and this and that, but overall I think it's pretty hard to run from. Yeah, and it's easier. I think it's easier to stand on the truth than it is to stand on lies. So the truth, in some sense, can defend itself, And even if some will make fun of you and all that, the truth is still the truth, I believe the world is around 6,000 years. Well, 82% of the Danish people don't believe that, and they will make fun of it, and they will what? You believe the world is only around 6,000 years? Are you crazy? But it doesn't make it true just because 82% of the people believe in evolution. It doesn't matter if 99% of the Danish people believed in evolution. It would still be a lie and a deception. Anyway, have a good one. I'll stop here. There we go.